Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment, news, and random topics we bring to this Google Hangouts conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm here with my friend Mike Stuglis. Mike, what have you been watching recently? What shows have you been watching?
I finished this The Sopranos and Deadwood around the same time, and now I am almost done with Big Little Lies.
I've never heard of that show. What's that?
That was an HBO show.
Okay.
In Monterey, and it has Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, Laura Dern, and Shailene Woodley in it.
I like the sound of that.
It's really good. It's like they do like a True Detective thing of like showing the current times of like interviewing the people about like this murder, but most of the story takes place in the past. But it's a way different tone than True Detective is, but it's really good. It's kind of funny to see all these like progressive rich women who like don't have to work, like just tear each other down because of stupid shit that happened in like the past and stuff. So yeah, it's a really good show.
That sounds good.
I'm enjoying it.
The way you say it's rich women tearing each other down, that just sounds like it's the Kardashians or something. But it's like a police show, like a cop procedural.
No, it's not a cop procedural at all. It's just like they'll show the people that also live in the neighborhood that aren't centralized characters being interviewed, be like, oh yeah, you knew when that happened that something was going to boil up, and everything's spoken in the past tense, so you don't know what's really happening, so it like remains a mystery. Till this point in the show where I'm on like episode 5, and I think there's 7.
And seated next to Mike across the internet is the man himself, Danny Stewart. Dan, how are you?
Did not start this war.
That's pretty good.
The ape who did is dead. I killed him. There's a quote from War for the Planet of the Apes. That was Caesar. That happens pretty early on in the film. But, yeah, we're going to be reviewing that later. So.
We might.
No, we definitely are.
You sure?
Yeah, that's what the show is about. War for the Planet of the Snapes.
I guess we can fit it in.
Yeah.
War for the Planet of the Grapes.
Oh my god.
War for the Planet of the...
What do you got? Dan?
Taking a...
Well, Dan, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? I've been doing a lot of Game of Thrones prep, because Game of Thrones comes back tonight. Winter is here.
Of course.
Pretty excited about it. But other than that, I just kind of don't watch television. I'll see if there's a movie on. If not, then I'll just watch, like, Friends on Netflix. Or, I don't know.
There's always a great debate.
Playing Crash Bandicoot, wanting to drive a metal pole into my fucking temple.
There's always a great debate about what's better between Seinfeld and Friends. And I don't think the two are comparable, but I'm going to call it and say that Seinfeld is vastly superior.
I don't even think it's close.
I love Seinfeld a lot. It's a way better show. But my uncle pointed this out to me when I was out in L.A. a few weeks ago. He said, like, he thinks Seinfeld's a better show as well, but Friends, like, holds up more today.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Like, Seinfeld, a lot of the issues that they dealt with wouldn't even be a thing nowadays because of, like, technology and cell phones and Facebook and all that shit. So it's whatever. It's still a funny show.
Ryan, remember on a PlayStation when you were like pretending to be Jerry Seinfeld for like 5 minutes? You were just talking like Jerry Seinfeld.
I was just narrating myself playing Grand Theft Auto, so I was like, what's the deal with taking people out of cars? They're always screaming. What's up with that? So dumb.
Oh, no.
I want to make a quick shout out now that we're on Seinfeld. We'll get into the news in a moment, but I want to make a quick shout out to the Twitter called Modern Seinfeld.
I love that.
They take modern things and turn it into a Seinfeld episode. So here's a tweet from September of 2015. They haven't tweeted in quite a bit, but they just tweeted, George's girlfriend wants a no phones at dinner rule. George says, we had a good thing going, Jerry. Now we're supposed to talk? This could only end badly. It's good stuff. So they just write premises for Seinfeld episodes. It's good shit. Are you guys ready to go in the news?
Yeah.
All right. Our first story. Daniel Craig has signed on for Bond 25, the 25th Bond movie. And reportedly, Adele has also signed on for the theme, which is, I think, way more exciting than getting a new Bond itself. I think she did a really good job with Skyfall, and I'm excited to see her do another Bond theme because she's got a classic voice, and I think it'd be perfect for another theme, and I'm looking forward to that, as well as Daniel Craig. But what do you guys think about this? Did you want Daniel Craig in another movie? Did you want to see a different Bond? What's the deal?
I did want him because, he would have been leaving on kind of a whimper with Spectre, so I'm hoping he can kind of go out with a good one because he is arguably my favorite Bond. I love Connery, but I really like Daniel Craig in the role, and I really didn't want to see him recasted.
Yeah.
And only if it was Idris Elba. That's the only one I wanted to replace him.
I was going to mention that,
and,
too.
What's funny, Dan?
I just opened up Ryan's Snapchat that he sent me right before we started recording the show. And he's like him with like a beard filter on. It's just like, this is Radio Mike, 86.7.
But Dan, what do you think of this story?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been a big James Bond guy, so it doesn't really affect me about who's singing the songs and who's doing the thing. But I like Daniel Craig. This will be what, his fourth Bond film?
Yeah.
I think his fifth.
Really?
He did
Casino Royale,
Quantum of
Quantum of
Solace,
Solace,
Skyfall, Spectre.
Oh, yeah, it will be fifth.
His fifth.
And now this is 5, huh?
I think that's record-breaking too, or ties it.
Mm.
I don't think they've ever played more than like 4 or 5.
Pierce Brosnan did like 3, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless,
Roger Moore's dead.
he is.
I'm indifferent about it. I mean, Skyfall was an awesome song, so if Adele can like get anywhere near that, that'd be pretty cool.
Mhm.
But Daniel Craig is also awesome as mind-controlled stormtrooper in Episode 7, and that Logan Lucky movie coming out looks hung.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna be in that.
Have you guys
I'm
liked,
excited about
speaking of spy movies, have you guys liked the recent Mission Impossible movies? I think they really got a lot better when Ghost Protocol came out, and they've been, I think, really stellar since. You guys like those?
I haven't seen him, and I've really been wanting to because of Ghost Protocol, and I heard how nuts that scene is when he's like on the side of the building or whatever.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've really wanted to check him out. Honestly, mainly because like Ving Rhames and Jeremy Renner are in it. Like,
yeah, they're good.
A movie with both Ving Rhames and Jeremy Renner sounds cool. So I've been super interested in him. I've just never seen him, and I kind of like by the time the next one comes out, I hope to have seen them all. So I have.
Yeah, it's worth
what the
it.
Fuck I'm talking about. Yeah.
Tom Cruise being my favorite Scientologist, I think. Probably my only Scientologist that I like.
I gotta go Travolta.
Yeah?
Yeah?
I gotta go Travolta
Oh, my
as well.
God.
I gotta go Travolta.
All right. Well, what's our next story?
The next story is very not related to John Travolta.
Hopefully never.
I don't know. Sean Astin's in it now. Stranger Things 2 is going to premiere on October 27th, when originally it was going to premiere on Halloween. So we're getting it like 4 days earlier.
Yeah, there was like a big
It's
thing
nuts.
they're doing. Yeah.
It's nuts. We're getting it 4 days earlier than we thought it would be. So that 4 days was huge. I didn't think I could make it those 4 days.
Well,
without
it'll now be
Stranger
completed 4 days earlier than it was supposed
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. So they made this announcement while also posting like a teaser poster or something like that with like the 4 kids, Will and Mike and Lucas and that other kid.
Which one are you talking about?
The kid with the hat and the no teeth.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, what's his name?
I think it starts with
Why
a T.
am I blanking?
Yeah.
Why
That's
am
like
I
everybody's
blanking?
favorite
I'm now
character.
upset. Anyway,
Yeah.
did
okay.
you see
Well,
like
that
the
kid-
monster in that poster?
Yeah, dude,
it was
looks like a
nuts.
giant like Daddy Longlegs.
Yeah. It looked like that thing from the Star Wars Episode 2. The thing that Ewan
the-
McGregor fights.
That
That
thing?
thing.
Yeah, I had that toy.
Yeah.
I had that thing. It's pretty hung, but yeah, that looks fucked up. That looks way bigger than like the little
Demogorgon.
Demogorgon fucking opening his
Yeah.
head and doing this kind of thing.
This will be cool though.
doing a little dance.
Well, all
here.
it did was
This is
remind
bad
us that
radio. You guys can't see it, but doing a little dance. And this is what the Demogorgon did. But it doesn't look like he has the flexibility to do that. But he looks like he has the flexibility to raise a leg and smash somebody's house.
well,
'Cause now he's a big
all this
spider.
does is raise the excitement for season 2. But I got to give a shout out now because it's around the same time. Shout out to Stranger Things itself, Millie Bobby Brown, who plays 11, and David Harbour for all getting Emmy nominations.
Oh yeah.
Congrats to them for making a great show. And Stranger Things was the surprise of last year, and it's cool to see it getting awards recognition now.
Fucking Dustin. That was his name.
Dustin.
Dustin,
There we go.
okay.
Dustin.
God. And the older sister was hot.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Nance.
What the fuck did I just hear, Nance? I said Lance.
What?
Tropic Thunder.
Oh, okay. I haven't
Tropic
seen that in a
Thunder.
bit. What's our next story here?
All right.
I
Our
don't know,
next
but
story
Nancy
is
is not really an attractive name.
no, it's
No.
not. It's like a 60-year-old name. if we're gonna be fucking ageist in this podcast.
Yeah, fuck people who are 60 years
Yeah. Anyway, our next piece of news is Quentin Tarantino's next movie will be about the Manson family, and it will be his take on the murder. So I'm expecting more of an Inglourious Basterds take, to where he probably just says, no, we're going to kill Charles Manson at the end of this movie. So that is what Quentin Tarantino has announced as his next project. There is no release date, but he said the script is almost finished, and the Weinstein Company is now looking for another set of producers to come on with this movie. And Brad Pitt, Jennifer Lawrence, and Margot Robbie have all been approached for roles. Nothing is confirmed, but they have all been approached for roles. Ryan, what do you think about Quentin Tarantino taking on the Manson family murders?
It's gonna be awesome because every time Quentin Tarantino bases it in any sort of reality, he rides a fine line and makes it crazy. Much like how in Django Unchained, he rebelled against everything and killed slavers and things like that. And in Inglourious Bastards, they fucking killed Hitler. Spoiler alert. Like that, didn't happen. It was all based in reality until then. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's what this is. Now I get it. So I'm hoping he takes it a little too far, but not that far in this movie. And I really sincerely hope that for Charles Manson, they get Shia LaBeouf. I think he would be perfect, but he hasn't been rumored for anything. I just think that he would be a great Charles Manson. He looks like him, I think, the young one.
No, I think so too.
Well, considering the predicting power we have on this show.
What do we predict?
We guessed the Will Smith thing.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that later.
Dude, I'll get more into it in D23, but another prediction of mine was correct yesterday, and I shit because I might be Jesus Christ himself. I'm very familiar with carpentry.
Yeah.
And my relationship with my father is very healthy. So I might be Jesus Christ. So, all right. So what are we talking about? Quentin here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how he can he could possibly make this well, he's got to, because that's just what his style is. Like, he's gonna make the Manson murders funny.
It has a serious possibility.
It's gonna be fucked up. It's gonna be so funny, and if they can get Shia LaBeouf yeah. Actually, I'd only want to see him in there. So here we go. Here works in the powers of Christ. Quentin Tarantino will cast Shia LaBeouf as Charlie Manson.
My money's on Walton Goggins.
That'd be a good cast.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Well,
because he can do that, the whole Southern accent thing, and when is Vice Principals coming back?
September, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's the HBO show that he's on with Danny McBride, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No, I only saw trailers. I was like, oh, that looks
It's so
fun.
funny.
Never saw
It
it.
was really good.
Okay.
Mike and I both watched it. It was awesome. But back on topic. This is going to be Quentin's 9th film.
Penultimate, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's definitely into that though. So, well, it's been coming in December, it'll be 2 years since Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
So
And he usually does about 3 years in between. So
Yeah,
I would
so-
guess.
2019.
Well, the rumor was they're shooting next summer. So 2019.
So 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on when he releases.
Yeah. So that'll be awesome. I love just the scene in Bastards where the bear Jew just annihilates Hitler's
shooting
face
his
with
face.
with a Tommy gun, and that is just incredible. So just to have history altering moments like that, and like a pretty serious thing, like Quentin's very good at finding like comedy in
Tragedy.
and this could be a masterpiece. It probably will be, considering the work he's done before. So I'm very excited.
So I
about
think
this.
of Django when, slavery was obviously the most horrific thing that happened in America, and like it's a movie that has a lot of sad and fucked up moments, but there's also a lot of lightheartedness they find with like Samuel L. Jackson and some other parts in the movie. And like, you guys remember the Baghead scene with Jonah Hill?
Yeah.
I imagine the whole Manson movie possibly being like that.
Oh, that'd be good.
Because he's like,
This
we're going to
time-
go in and kill these people. And he's like, but it'd be nice to see. And like, maybe that's the whole movie. Manson and his minions like fighting amongst each
It's
other.
like, how about this time we go no bags, and next time with better eye holes we'll do the bags.
We'll do the bags. Like, he made like the KKK kind of funny in this movie.
Not that it ever should be, but he did it well.
Yeah, because
An impossible feat. Yeah.
But we're all on board.
Yeah.
I think we can agree with that.
What I look forward to most is the new soundtrack by him. I think he always has great soundtracks, whether it be an original score or just songs he picks for it. They're always like lesser known hits that are always
Right.
really good and they get your foot tapping. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll see if he-
Morricone for this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see if he sticks to it. But he was saying as long as Morricone's alive, he wants him to just solo score his
Oh,
movies.
wow. Okay.
And he's been doing it since Bastards, right? He did Bastards. He did
Yeah.
some of Django.
I think that was
He
it.
did Hateful Eight. I think those are. But he wants him back again, which I'm all for.
Sweet.
So yeah.
Well, on to our next story. There's been a lot of shit these past few months about the new Batman movie that Ben Affleck was going.
A lot of shit.
Yeah,
There's been
there's
a
no-
lot of poop
Yeah.
out there.
Ben
We wanna
Affleck
make sure
originally.
we get the right poop out.
Ben Affleck was originally writing, directing, and starring in the Batman movie in this new DC cinematic universe. And then there was more problems, and there was studio pressure from Warner Brothers. Ben Affleck wasn't ready. And so he stepped down as director. Matt Reeves signed on. Matt Reeves is the director of War for the Planet of the Apes, which we'll be reviewing later on. And now Matt Reeves is also taking the screenplay. So they're scrapping the entire the entire screenplay that Ben Affleck had together here. So Matt Reeves is now writing and directing. Ben Affleck is only starring as Batman. Hopefully, I don't hope he doesn't drop out or anything. But so much studio pressure. I really hope that Matt Reeves can make this an unshitty movie. You know, with all this studio pressure, it can always make a bad movie. And what do you guys think on this?
Well, Matt Reeves, I feel like, has been thinking about. It wasn't scrapped; they're shelving it. I think that's what I read. Maybe that might be it. But also, Matt Reeves has been saying for like the past month now how different his take's gonna be. He's saying he wants to do a detective noir kind of approach, which if he's able to pull off, sounds fucking great. What, Dan?
I screenshotted that article title
Right.
on my phone, because in case it's not a detective noir movie, then I'm gonna email Matt Reeves like, you're a fucking asshole.
Do you remember this?
Anyway, well, I'm sure it'll have like elements like the
remember
superhero
this?
take. You know how like
No,
like,
I'm rooting for him.
like Spider-Man: Homecoming was like kind of like the high school
High school
drama.
movie.
I feel like if they're able to pull off the detective noir thing,
Yeah.
that would be really
No, that'd be
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So I don't know if this is a bad sign, because I feel like this was part of Matt Reeves coming in, because for a while they were saying Matt Reeves is the director, and then they came out and said deal fell through, he's not.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's always had the idea of writing his own screenplay for it. And I think starring directing, and writing a whole superhero movie is a lot of work. It's more work than doing, like, Ben Affleck did that for The Town. That's easier, though, because it's not a superhero blockbuster. There's a lot more to handle when you're the director of a blockbuster piece. And I feel like that might be the reason Ben Affleck has just gone down to star in the film now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's bad news like some other people do. I actually think it's taken some pressure off Ben so he can focus on the role.
Yeah, I think it's good news as well, especially if it's going to be a more grounded screenplay with just a focus on the detective part of Batman, which is often overlooked in movies. And so I'm all for it. I agree.
Yeah, I'm like, Ryan, did you ever watch Batman Year One? It's like an
I read it and I watched the original. It reads a lot better than the animated movie. But yeah, I saw that.
I like that because that was like one of the few Batman films, animated and live action, that like really do the detective thing well.
Yeah.
You know, it's Batman Year One, and it's like 50-50 story is like half of it's about Batman, the other half's about Commissioner Gordon, and it's pretty cool. But like that really captured the detective role well, and Batman wasn't even like in it that much. So to have a whole movie about Batman and still have him be like, you know, the world's greatest detective, which is one of his many nicknames, like it'll be cool, you know.
Yeah.
And after Apes, like Matt Reeves is you know, he's got the okay in my book, because I mean, we'll get it into more.
He did Dawn too, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it more into the review of Apes later, but like the last two Apes films like have been so well written and so well done with character building for apes. So when you kind of have Batman, who's a well developed character in just general human knowledge, like I think he can do really well with this. So I'm happy with Matt Reeves doing this.
Yeah. Well, is that all we've got on that?
We headed that into the next topic.
Sure.
Here?
Yeah, Dan can shoot his pants for that.
I can shoot my pants once again, like I did yesterday. Okay, well, so this weekend out in Anaheim, California, which is where Disneyland is, they're having the annual D23 Expo, which is just kind of a big Disney thing. It's where they announce like future movies, video games, like projects, TV shows, fucking Star versus the Universe or whatever the hell that Disney XD show. They had a big thing. All right, but they were doing movies and trailers and behind the scenes footage for people who were there. There was like an Avengers Infinity War trailer, and people were saying it was fucking nuts. And like they showed a timeline of when movies are coming out. The live action Mulan, the live action Lion King is coming out in 2019, and so is the live action Dumbo, and Toy Story 4, and Episode 9, and Frozen 2 for some fucking reason.
Frozen's a good movie.
Yeah, Frozen's okay.
I love Frozen.
Tangled is better than Frozen.
You know what? You hate Frozen so much because your sister watched it.
That
so
could
much.
be true, but also Frozen's kind of overrated.
I've heard that from a couple people.
Big Hero 6 is better than Frozen. Zootopia is better than Frozen. I think Tangled is better than Frozen.
See, what I don't want to get stuck on Frozen so much, but I think like that movie without Olaf is like not a good movie.
Oh,
Yeah. He carried that. He carried it.
Anyway, carry
All
on.
right, so 2018, Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Wreck-It Ralph 2. There's a Mary Poppins movie starring Emily Blunt.
Ooh.
And then Avengers comes out, and so does Black Panther. But Disney's unloading all this crap. Well, it's not crap. It's fun. It's awesome. It's great. Love it. It's all great. And they did some castings for their live-action Aladdin. We could go back a couple of shows, and you can hear us say that Will Smith would be a perfect guy for Genie, and they made it happen. So Disney listens to this podcast.
Well, yeah, we have
what I
an
have
enormous fan base, and they're all just big Hollywood fat cats, and they're taking notes off our original ideas.
Yeah.
We're just really smart guys, you know.
So, I mean, there's
Dan, you spoke it into existence.
yeah, and Dumbo. Tim Burton is directing Dumbo, and Michael Keaton is going to star. So it's
I
going
did not
to
know about
reunite them after Batman. And then there were details revealed about Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4. So Incredibles 2 is kind of going to focus on Elastigirl.
All right.
So Incredibles 1 was kind of about, Mr. Incredible's midlife crisis, and she had to deal with, like, the family at home. It's going to be, like, the other way around now.
All right.
Like,
I'm all for that.
female empowerment and all
That's
that
cool.
jazz.
And I heard that is it true that it is picking up directly where the last movie
I don't know
left
if
off?
they're going to do the whole Underminer thing. I
Okay.
don't know. Because they made a video game called Rise of the Underminer.
Yeah.
It came out for, like, PS2. And I never even played that, but apparently that was, like, the sequel to
Oh,
Incredibles.
okay.
And so I don't know if that is, like, considered canon. I don't know if Disney is taking into account that, like, a video game from, like, 2005 is, like, canon in their story. But, it doesn't matter to me. I think it's going to be a great movie.
Yeah.
It's been in 2018, which is when it comes out,
Next year.
it'll be 14 years since Incredibles came out. 04 is when it came out. So that's awesome. But Toy Story 4 got details as well. Apparently it's going to be like on a road trip. Like they're going to be on a road trip, and there's a new character called Lulu or something like that.
God damn it.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, there's still going to be Bonnie's toys and everything like that. But the first details that ever came out about Toy Story 4 was that Woody is going on, like, a hunt to find Bo Peep. Which is cool,
Yeah.
Woody seemed pretty bummed about Bo Peep being gone in Toy Story 3. Because that's just the saddest movie of all time.
Woody lost his Woody because his Bo Peep left.
Yeah, Mike,
Yeah.
Woody lost his Woody.
Get
God
it?
damn it.
It's a
I got
penis joke.
It's a
And
dong.
then, John Lasseter said that this, like, one guy was getting, like, full directorial, like, responsibilities, and John Lasseter's not even going to direct Toy Story 4 anymore. Which, part of the reason, like, I left the theater in tears after Toy Story 3, and thinking that they would ever do a fourth one was astronomical. And then when they decided that they were, John Lasseter, who invented Toy Story, was the original director and everything like that. Like, Woody and Buzz are of his creation. Said that he was going to be the director because he had a great idea for Toy Story 4. I was like, I'm all on board. Now he's kind of giving directorial duties to somebody else. I can't for the life of me scroll through Twitter past the day and find out who this guy is. But, he's a guy. So, he exists. But, like, it kind of, and Lasseter's still going to be an executive producer. But, like, I don't know, it kind of makes me nervous. I feel like John Lasseter's kind of like doing a Harry Potter and the Cursed Child thing. Like, J.K. Rowling's like, yeah, you can put my name on that. Just so, but you guys are the full writers, just in case this thing is a fucking bomb, which it was. Cursed Child was. Then they can blame somebody else other than J.K. Rowling,
That's 2019, right? Toy
Toy Story 4? Yeah. Okay. So, that's awesome.
Did they get Ham?
Yeah, John Ratzenberger's been in every...
No, I'm sorry, not Ham. Who was Don Rickles' voice?
He was Mr. Potato Head.
He already recorded.
He's dead.
Yeah.
He's recorded for that already?
Yeah, they've been doing... Tom Hanks is saying they've been doing Toy Story 4 since, like, 2013.
Holy shit. Okay.
Because I think the least hard part about, like, making an animated movie or a video game is getting the voices down.
Yeah.
I feel like they could do the voices, like, 2 months before they, like, release. Fuck. It'd be a stupid thing to do, but they could do it, Like,
Yeah.
So that was D23, but the biggest thing for me out of D23 was during their gaming thing yesterday. Now, they showed Battlefront 2 and PS4 Spider-Man, which are two games that I'm very excited for. but I couldn't give less of a fuck about either of them yesterday. Because they do an hour-long presentation. The first half hour, or the first like 25 minutes, was like Star Wars Battlefront. The next 20 minutes was Spider-Man, and then they leave the last 15 minutes for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I'm just like, they're just gonna fucking talk about it, and the trailer's gonna be short, it's gonna be stupid, and everything like that. But it wasn't. It was. It made me nearly cry. I was jumping up and down. I was screaming because after the director of Kingdom Hearts talked to Pixar and finally got a deal going so Pixar can be included in Kingdom Hearts, Toy Story is going to be the first Pixar world in Kingdom Hearts, and I have been waiting for this moment since I was a kid. So the trailer was awesome. And then after the trailer, after fucking years of Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers and seeing now in development or check out our next trailer at other fucking conference, it says it's coming in 2018. And that will culminate such a very long time of my life. Like, I said, I don't think I can officially turn into an adult until I complete Kingdom Hearts 3, so I will start turning into an adult sometime next year. And there's only within like the next 524 days, Kingdom Hearts 3 will be being played by me.
Yay.
Congrats, Dan.
Now, there's one piece of news you missed that I saw this morning that my favorite news, at least, was that Disney's it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 years until we really see this ready to go, but there's a new Disney resort that they're making.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's a full immersion Star Wars resort. And so what happens is, and this is what they're saying, is that you are given like even Star Wars clothes when you get into your room at the resort. The window is a view of space. And so like it's a full immersion thing. All of the staff are going to be all Star Warsy and shit. And that sounds really cool. Now, not being able to see outside is kind of weird, but if it's so well done that like you actually look at the window and it looks like space, I think that's a really cool thing.
It will be well done. It is Disney and it is Star Wars, but that park's opening up in 2019, like May.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So they already started construction on it.
Yeah, they've already got like AT-ATs up.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's badass.
Yeah, so they started construction I think like late last year. So like they're getting going, they're rolling out, and hopefully in 2 years, like I'm gonna go to that park.
Definitely, that shit's gonna be expensive though. Like from the sound of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that'll be like a college graduation gift for me. But then I'd have to like wave like a trip to Australia or a trip to Ireland goodbye. But I would rather go to fucking Tatooine.
I hope you can shoot at wombats.
Yeah, in your T-16 back home.
A gopher hole.
Yeah.
I want to drink that blue milk that they have.
Yeah,
in the bar.
that's what I was thinking of too.
They're probably gonna have blue milk.
Good. I wonder what it tastes like.
Is it milk? I don't know. It kind of looked like a martini.
Yeah, it was like some sort of intoxicant.
It's just milk, and they put blue colored dye in there.
Well, is that all we have for you?
It's like you'd just be like, well, now I'm disappointed that the milk is that the blue milk is just dyed milk.
I hate calcium.
You know, back in the day, on St. Patrick's Day, the leprechaun used to go into my fridge and dye the milk green.
Oh, him himself.
Yeah, himself.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Sorry
nice
for
guy.
my awful
okay.
grammar.
It's okay, but that hasn't been done in a while.
Him and himself. What a poorly constructed sentence.
Yeah.
Ryan, when do you have work?
What?
When do you have work?
We're good on time. We're fantastic on time.
All right.
It's not gonna be a problem.
All right, good.
We were worried that I was going to be cut off on this show by work, but unfortunately we're making fine time, and we're not going to have any issues.
We're making fine time, dine time.
Are we ready to do our review?
Wine time.
All right.
No, I'm not LeBron James. I like beer. I don't drink wine.
What?
LeBron said he'd rather drink a glass of wine than beer because he's a soft ass.
All right, Ryan, what were you saying?
I was just saying that we saw a movie this week. We saw War for the Planet of the Apes, directed by Matt Reeves. And after the apes suffer unimaginable losses, Caesar wrestles with his darker instincts and begins his own mythic quest to avenge his kind. It stars Andy Serkis, Woody Harrelson, and Steve Zahn. Let's jump right into the positives here. What do you guys got?
I loved Bad Ape.
That was Steven Zahn,
Yeah, it was. And he was in a Bigfoot movie called Strange Wilderness.
How was he in this movie, Dan?
Yeah, what's he like in this?
Well, in this one, he isn't trying to find Bigfoot. He's a zoo ape who learned how to talk. And then he's just trying to stay away from humans. He's just trying to chill by himself, which is understandable. We're really portrayed as pieces of shit in the film.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But that's been the tone of the Apes films for the last 3 of them. Like we're real pieces of shit. Like if you're not rooting for the apes in Planet of the Apes, like you suck.
Well, it's progressively gotten worse because there's always been like solid humans
like
throughout.
James
in this
Franco
one,
is awesome.
Jason Clarke and
Jason
Dawn.
Clarke
Yeah.
And Kerry Russell, who.
Okay.
She's outstanding, and then that ugly-looking kid with the big forehead, and then now in this one, you hate humans, dude. Like except for Nova. Wait, is that a spoiler?
Just stay away from it.
Okay. And the little girl, that was cool. But Woody's a dick, dude, and so are the rest of the humans. And you're just like, oh, Caesar.
Yeah.
Stay away from those human people, And then he's just like, I did not start this war. And it was just like, yeah, you're right. You didn't. Koba did.
So
what?
What do you like about the fucking movie?
Yeah.
There are a lot of positives.
Jesus.
We talked about Matt Reeves earlier. He's proved himself already with the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This was a great sequel to that. I loved the tone. I loved the writing. It was a great war film. It was a great drama. It wasn't just apes on horses out there.
No.
It was a great movie. I just loved every aspect of it. Like just the way it was written, the way it was directed. Andy Serkis once again does an incredible job as Caesar, and he won't get the recognition he deserves for it. And it's a damn shame. But I love this movie. It's a great film. And it paid a lot of homages to the original Planet of the Apes from 1968. But I think just in terms of the way the movie goes, like this is leading directly into the original Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. I like how they're doing that. And I don't know if there's room for any more Apes movies after this one, in between this one and the 1968 one, but I don't know. If they wanted to, they could.
I'll ask a question. Do you guys want to see more?
No.
I'm good. I am so good with how they ended this.
But just judging by certain characters in this film that may or may not be in the original, there's about 30 years, 20 to 30 years of time in which they could tell another story. But certain events happen, and I don't know if I want to see anymore. Not going to get any. I can't say it without spoiling the whole movie.
Yeah. So let's just steer away from that.
Yeah, so I'm just going to steer away from it. Love the movie. What do you got?
So, what really stood out to me, Dan mentioned the story. These aren't just animals. These aren't just apes. They are fully developed characters. We've seen Caesar, Maurice, and Rocket for 3 movies now, and they've introduced more apes along the way, and they continue to give all of them arcs and characterizations, so they're not just one note. He's the angry ape. They fully develop these characters. They give them families, and I thought that was really cool. The first 20 minutes of this movie, I was so amazed by when it started off with this, this little battle scene, and then and then it kind of goes in and shows the apes' home life and how is it and the 2 years it's expanded since Dawn. Awesome. So that was great, and how they develop these apes as truly characters. Dan mentioned Andy Serkis once again will not probably get recognition he deserves, because he's not doing the same performance he's done. He's given us something new every time. You know, in the first one we see Caesar evolving, he hardly talks, and Andy Serkis has really relied largely on physicality. And the second one, we have to see him kind of struggle as a leader and struggle and he's learning to talk, and he's learning how to converse with his other apes. And in this one, he's in total control, and you see him conflicted in so many different ways, and you're seeing him act through physical and emotional emotions, and he's just so good, and he's really made Caesar a super memorable character, and can't praise him enough. The special effects in these last two movies are groundbreaking. I mean, oh my God, CGI has come such a long way, and it's to the point now where you can't even tell that they're animated. It literally looks like apes.
What it is the motion capture. Ever
Yeah.
since they've
For those of you who don't know, that's what these apes are doing. They're not just Andy Serkis is not voicing these characters. He is acting it in a suit.
They put on these skin tight suits with like motion detectors on them, and they, Andy Serkis gets on like these little crutches, and well, now he doesn't anymore because Caesar walks upright, but he walks around like an ape, and they take the movements of his face and put it into Caesar. So, like, if you look close enough into, like, Smeagol even in The Lord of the Rings,
his
Andy
eyes,
Serkis played it as well, like, you can see Andy Serkis's face. And it's the same case for Caesar. You can see who's, like, playing them, like, through the animal, and that's just awesome. And the motion capture technology has been so advanced over the last few years, and they're going to keep doing that. Because now, they do it for video games, they do it for movies. Like, they just, for Battlefront 2, which I saw yesterday, they did an exclusive look at D23
For, like, the main character.
of the main character
Right.
for the new single-player campaign. Like, they just literally took her and put her into the game, like in a Stormtrooper outfit, which is just fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah. I wonder if it works the same way. So, you know how they de-aged Kurt Russell in Guardians, Ryan?
Yeah.
And they're doing, that with De Niro. Is that motion capture, or is that all CGI? Do they have to... That's I got to look that up. That's really interesting. I don't know how they're doing
not knowing anything about special effects, I'm going to wager that they do motion capture, because it's a lot easier to anchor, like, different points on their face that move, instead of completely generating your own template and like shapes of their face. I'm gonna say that they definitely motion capture, and then it's a lot easier to smooth everything out. But I don't know anything about how that works. That's just a guess.
I'll bounce it to you now, since we kind of talked about our positives.
Yeah.
What did you like about this movie?
Well, piggybacking off of what you said about how it's all fleshed out, full characters. That was something I was worried about going into this movie, because from the trailers and the looks of it, I didn't know that there was going to be any like good humans in this that like were benevolent to the apes, and I was amazed to see that there weren't in this movie. Every single human was bad, and what was great about the movie is that it still stood up with only 8 protagonists. And so with the motion capture like that, they're able to actually make compelling characters, and they all like have different feelings toward what they're supposed to be doing. They make actions that also have consequence, and so it's cool that we're getting into times where we can do these things and have characters that are fully emotional. But that's ridiculous to say, because Toy Story happened 20 years ago and we all cared about those characters. But I'm just saying, in complete CGI but also live action, it's neat to see just apes be something that we care about. But it absolutely was, I would argue, the strongest of these movies. I really liked it a lot. But should they make more Planet of the Apes movies? I would say no. It gets where it needs to go. Oh my God, I'm getting a phone call. I'm declining it. I don't know what that was about.
I didn't hear it.
Okay.
You're okay, right?
It
Keep
played
going.
in my headphones.
Keep going.
Fuck that person who just
To fuck them
Unless
indeed.
it was like your mom or dad or something.
No, it's someone I work with. I don't have work
Oh,
though.
fuck that guy. Oh, then don't call him back, because then they're gonna try and call you in.
He does have work. Ryan, are you there?
Yeah,
They might
I'm
try
here.
to call him in. They might
Alright.
try to
That
call him in.
that might
Alright.
be what the case is, but I'm not gonna go in because we're doing this right now.
Yeah, we've got.
Yeah,
movies.
I work it later, so I'm not gonna go in. But
Okay.
This movie was great. Everything that you guys said, I completely agree with. But it's action throughout. We see a lot of different settings. There's things that every character struggles with, and it's really a great time. I would recommend it to anyone that cared about the original movies. If you liked the Tim Burton movie, I think you should jump off a bridge. And it was great. Go check it out.
Dan and I kind of dominated a little bit. What were some of your negatives, since we talked about some of the positives till we got to you?
I really don't have any. I don't think off the top of my head. I think it was very well rounded, great pacing, compelling story, compelling characters. I got nothing.
Yeah, you talked about the pacing. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and you can feel the length, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie has to be long, and it's some movies are just long for the sake of being long. This movie had so much stories to tell, and like you said, so many different settings that it has, that I think it had to be the 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Once it got towards the end too, like you almost wanted more. Like once it got to the end and kind of like the climactic moments happened, it almost felt like there was a lot more. But I mean, the pacing of this movie was fine. You know, I mean, it was a great film. Ryan, you didn't have any negatives, right?
No, none at all.
Not any glaring ones.
I'd have to say, if any, and I mean, but like part of the story is that the central focus of this movie is on the apes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Woody Harrelson was a huge selling point for this film, and he's not in it as much as you think. But I also think that's cool. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's about the apes, not the humans, so that's, that almost crosses out my negative right there, but it's barely a negative. One negative I have, that soldier guy who kind of becomes like a main character.
Like Woody's number 2-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Like, I could get into spoilers talking about him, but like, Caesar spares his life, and like good karma doesn't kick in with that guy at all.
He almost could have been like, you almost didn't need that character to be as like in as many scenes as he was, because it could have just been a random
like,
soldier.
They made you want to care about him, and then it was just like, fuck that guy.
I would agree. He was kind of a
like, he was
poor.
just pointless.
They tried. He should have just been a face in the crowd. He should have been in the beginning of the movie, and then that's it. And then because they didn't do anything with bringing him back consistently, Donkey was a great character.
Yeah, no, I agree. Donkey was. See, but like Donkey had the moment that I thought that the soldier would have at the end of the movie, and that didn't happen. But Donkey was a great character, and I liked how that turned out. But that's the only negative I have is with that soldier guy.
So, I have one. I would say Dawn is the strongest of this franchise, the middle one. This is not a disappointing conclusion by any stretch. I love this movie, and I really think this and Rise compete for the second best. All really good movies, but I would argue for what this movie was marketed as, I have no problem with it being a drama. Like I said, I thought the story was really enthralling, but I do think that it was somewhat mismarketed because I don't know how you get maybe 1 to 2, you get 1 definitely, but arguably 2 to 3 war scenes in this movie, and I feel like the third act, although cool, and I liked what happened, it evolved very quickly because there's a scene with Woody Harrelson that's filled with exposition, and he makes it work because of how well he acts it out, but it kind of gives you a hint to how the rest of the movie's going to play out, and I felt like the third act was somewhat anticlimactic. Although it had a good ending for the apes, I think the way the humans ended, they kind of hinted at too closely in this one scene, and it kind of gave you the insight to how more than a couple of these characters were going to play out. So I thought that the movie almost let its guard down halfway through to how it was going to end. And I don't like predictability, and I felt like this movie had some in it. So that would be my one negative, is I thought the ending was not the ending, but the third act, you could kind of see how it was going to play out in some steps. I definitely could. So I'm going to give this movie a 4.3 out of 5 Goldblums. I really enjoyed it. I'll watch it and buy it again on Blu-ray and complete my Planet of the Apes trilogy of the prequels. And I can't give enough credit to Andy Serkis. It's a strong movie, and it's well worth the price of admission.
Yeah. I'm going to get this a score of 4 out of 5. I loved it.
I am giving this film a 4.3 out of 5 Goldblums as well. It was a great, very entertaining movie. There are a couple more movies I've seen this year that are better than it, but this is very great movie. It's a great way to kind of conclude, if it is the conclusion of this Planet of the Apes prequel. It was just awesome. Go see this film. So we're kind of in the Independence Day, kind of leaning more towards Independence Day type of film.
I would say it has a enthralling story like Jurassic Park does, more so than Independence Day, and that's why we gave that little higher score. Yeah. So
nice score.
Very, very good way to conclude War for the Planet of the Apes. And next week we got Dunkirk coming out. Big Christopher Nolan coming back since Interstellar. Hunkirk. Yeah. Edgar Wright and Rian Johnson both tweeted this morning that they both think it's a masterpiece, and Christopher Nolan is now an all-time great. So now my boner is through the roof. So yeah, but like that's what they were saying.
This is a war film for him, so this will be good. But speaking of Rian Johnson, yesterday at D23 as well, they did a behind-the-scenes look at The Last Jedi. It was like an 8-minute video that I haven't watched yet, but
the featurette, right?
Yeah. And they released the movie posters for The Last Jedi, and they're like character posters, and there are 5 of them so far, and they feature Luke, Leia, Rey, Finn, and Kylo.
Oh, and Kylo, okay.
And it's like the Star Wars The Last Jedi logo, and then like all the characters wearing like red outfits, and both Rey and Luke are wielding Anakin's lightsaber.
Huh.
Like the one that was heavily focused on in Episode 7. So I wonder why Luke doesn't have his Return of the Jedi lightsaber. That's just me though. I might be pissed if in Episode 8 like Luke doesn't have his green Return of the Jedi lightsaber.
Yeah, I would too. Unless, when he like throws it in the Death Star. But he gets it back after that. After that. He does.
But I guess the Battlefront 2 campaign tells the story in between then, and in that trailer, like Luke was shown like looking a little bit older with
he
that
had
lightsaber.
He had the green lightsaber.
Like very weathered and stuff. Maybe it breaks and he doesn't have it.
Oh, maybe.
We'll see.
But that'd be fucking stupid.
Yeah, it would be. But the Ryan, take us into our topic.
Sure. Moving on. This week I made our topic topical to our review. I want to talk about the apocalypse. Obviously,
the ape apocalypse.
Yeah. They had that in the movie.
Apocalypse Now, dude, and it was like written in the same font that Apocalypse Now is written in like that movie poster. Right, continue,
so I mean, there's a lot of different ways we've seen in sci-fi or things like that how the planet might end, how the apocalypse might occur, and it's definitely a sort of apocalyptic situation in the world of the Planet of the Apes. So I was wondering what you guys think the most plausible way the apocalypse might actually happen to us.
So, I think the most plausible way is, oh god, this is grim, but I think the nuclear apocalypse is the most that or something to do with weather is the most possible. I think it's the nuclear apocalypse because that would happen and you'd see people and animals kind of mutate if they weren't wiped out just from the radiation alone. Saying there were some survivors, but I think that is the most plausible because I think we live in a era that, one, everything is so self-centered, but everyone around this world is struggling for power, and I don't think it's going to happen by any stretch, but I think all it takes is two countries really to launch the nukes at each other, and then everyone else might fall into place.
Do you think it would get to
Now,
that
I
point?
would hope that.
Oh.
I would hope not, but I think it's the most possible. I don't think someone's gonna get like the bath salt fever, and there's gonna be a large population that happens, and people are eating each other's face like zombies. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think the most plausible is a nuclear apocalypse where kind of almost everywhere is just completely leveled, and it's almost like you need a gas mask to walk around. And that's because of we have the resources to make that possible. So that's what I would argue is I think that is the most plausible. Do I think it's going to happen? Hell no. Do I want it to happen? Hell
Who
no.
do you
But
think
I
would
think
be
it
the
has a
instigator in like today's landscape? Who would instigate nuclear war?
Those stupid people in Korea. And,
North Korea, right?
Yeah, and
I don't think our president helps either.
no, him and his dick measuring contest with Russia is not a good thing. But I think that there's some powers out there, including us, that are really arrogant, and all it takes is someone to get the resources to be able to launch it. And I know our national defense, and you can go into all those fucking things, but I'm just saying, if some awful situation were to happen, I think that is the most plausible of the apocalypse that can happen.
Yeah.
So that is my take on it.
I do think nuclear fallout is
Fallout.
Great games.
I think that is most plausible as well, but I'm not gonna say the exact same thing. This conversation lame. So, climate change isn't a myth. Climate change is real, and what's gonna happen is like the North Pole is gonna melt, and the Alps are all gonna drown, and Antarctica is gonna melt, and then the Earth floods, and we all die in a watery grave.
Oh, well, we have hope. Have you seen Waterworld? They make it okay out there.
What?
Have you ever heard of Waterworld?
No, what's Waterworld?
It's a shitty Kevin Costner movie from like the 90s where it's that exact situation where the whole world is flooded and everyone just lives on boats. It's awesome.
Well, that's what happens to John Cusack in 2012.
Yeah. So there'll be the rich people on the boats. We'll see. But so you think it's just gonna flood and that's it? We're done.
Like Noah's Ark, and there's the one guy with the big ark and the sheep on it, and he survives.
No, like Steve Carell in
Heaven Almighty.
Heaven Almighty. Actually, it's more like that. It wouldn't be like Noah. No. I don't know. That sounds terrible to me. I don't want to drown.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
I don't like water. So drowning to death would be like my least favorite thing.
Definitely. Like, what's worse between that or burning alive? We're getting dark here today.
I'd rather drown
than burn alive.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
God.
heard burning alive is okay. So you ever?
Could you imagine,
no. I'll
burning
put this
alive
into
and then
perspective
jump
for you
into
guys.
a pool to try and get the fire off you, and then you drown.
I'll put this into perspective for you guys. You ever take something out of the oven and burn yourself on something?
Yeah.
Imagine your entire body happening and you feel all of that.
Fuck that.
That is what burning alive is, and that is why I'd rather drown. Because drowning, you accept you're going to die, and then you could have your stupid little flash before your eyes, and then you croak.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you see your children?
I don't have kids. That's a good movie, though.
Oh, yeah.
Next week, Dunkirk.
Interstellar.
Well,
Ryan.
That'd be shitty though. Interstellar, like there's just fucking dust clouds that come in and fuck your ass up. That'd
Yeah.
suck.
that
And then you have to rely on Matthew McConaughey and Jessica Chastain to save you.
this world is doomed if we're gonna have to rely on Matthew McConaughey in real life. We're done. He's just gonna go drive a Lincoln into the sun, and then we're doomed.
Into the sun.
Yeah. um, but mine actually almost is similar to Dan's in that I think we're gonna have problems with resources. I think with the way we're influencing the climate, we might have problems with flooding. We might have problems with dryness even. Obviously, like oil is becoming a problem, and one of the most terrifying things is this theory. Well, it's not a theory. It's something that will happen, but we've been getting it wrong for years. And it's this thing called peak oil, in that at some point in all the oil we're drilling, there's going to be a point where we get the last amount of oil. That's the most we're going to get. And from there, it's like a graph. It's going downhill, and we're running out of oil on this planet. So peak oil has been predicted wrongly for years. They thought it was going to happen like 20 years ago. But we just keep finding new ways to get oil. And so I don't think we're going to see anything like that in our lifetime, but I think it will happen. And that might even stress things to how Mike was describing with nuclear war or things like that. Or we're just going to all flood and it's too late. Like, we'll see. But another plausible one, I think, is maybe like a superbug could wipe us all out. Like you always see. I'm no scientist.
Zika virus from the skeeters.
Yeah, I'm no scientist here, but you always see the articles on how things are getting more and more resistant to antibiotics and things like that, and we're making stronger viruses out of that. And so what I'm thinking is that maybe at some point we're gonna have created an environment for a superbug to happen, and maybe it'll get us, but who knows? You know.
And James Franco develops the cure to Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
but then it goes terribly wrong, and then it spreads through the air and through exchanging of lungs, and then we all turn primitive while the apes all get smart, and then it turns into a planet of apes.
Talking about the simian flu?
Yeah, simian flu. Simian flu would be pretty cool.
It's there's a really good bit by from Bill Burr who he was saying like, yeah, I'm really worried about getting Ebola one of these days where you're like bleeding through your eyes. But it's weird with Ebola because everyone, whenever they get it, they just have this unbelievable urge to go to an airport. Like, why is that always the case? Is, oh yeah, I'm just bleeding out of my ass. Let me just get on a plane. That'll be okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's how apes happened.
Yeah.
Bleeding out of asses?
The planes going in all the different directions at the end of Rise.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That fat guy.
Or no, was that the that was the beginning of Dawn, right?
At the end of Rise, but at the beginning of Dawn too.
Okay.
Hey,
the radio was the
the fucking the fat guy sneezes on the pilot, who's James Franco's neighbor, and then the neighbor just so happens to be a pilot, and he flies all over the world, and everybody gets it, and then everybody dies.
Jesus.
Except for the apes.
One thing though I want to say about this, like, because it's easy to say that we're doomed, right? But let's end this on a hopeful note, because we've just been like, oh, we're gonna die this whole time. I wanna just say this in that it's almost like human nature for us to do things last minute. Like, think about how it's really easy for us to just put off, like, say, doing a term paper. And you're just thinking about it. Oh, I've got time. And then you do it the weekend before the Monday morning when it's due, right? I think that is going to be much like what happens to this planet. I think we're going to keep trashing it until it's really a concern. And then somebody's just going to come up with an ultimate solution, hopefully in time. And I think that's how we're going to make it here. Just barely, because everyone on this planet is just winging it. And I think
our planet's fucked to begin with, because when the sun decides he wants to do his little
yeah,
that's not a little, that's a supernova. That's a big thing. That's that's whether the sun blows up or in like a million years, like the sun's just gonna like burn out.
Yeah. Well, the
I'd
thing
rather
is,
get blown up. That's kind of hung.
Venus used to
Yeah,
have.
blowing up would be cool. It'd suck just like waking up one day and it was still like fucking nighttime, like,
Yeah.
and it's just fucking pitch black and there are just fucking looters out there waiting to steal your wallet. Like I'm not about that. I'd rather blow up than
Yeah.
get my wallet stolen.
Well, Venus used to have an atmosphere much like ours when the sun was a lot smaller, and now that it's been growing, it's turned into the giant greenhouse 400-degree hellhole that it is now. And so while the sun gets older and turns into a red giant, that's when we're going to start to either just dry out or just get fucking insane, and it's going to be uninhabitable. But I think humans
Like
are going to
that
be
one
long dead
episode
or
of-
long gone by the time it's a red giant.
I agree.
Like
yeah.
that one episode of Fairly Odd Parents.
I don't know that. I don't
Yeah,
know
what
that
happens?
reference.
What happens?
they-
in it? You can't just say
They
that.
well, I thought you guys would know what I'm
No.
talking about. Like the Earth is heading towards the sun, and then like we get really close, and like Mr. Crocker's about to dive into a pool, but then the pool evaporates.
I remember that now.
Yeah, so it'd be like that.
Yeah.
So everybody's just gonna break their neck by diving into an empty pool.
Hey, speaking of diving into water, we're reviewing Dunkirk next week.
Yeah, I said it. I said it during the Apes review.
I know, I'm just saying it again.
Are we just doing like stupid puns now or whatever?
Speaking of pun,
Poon.
uh, I don't have one. Tom Hardy,
Speaking of not having one,
Bane.
the English in the Battle of Dunkirk did not have a navy to get them out. And so you'll see what happens in Dunkirk, which we'll be reviewing next week.
I heard Hardy has 10 lines.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was going to make that a news piece
But-
this week, but that's stupid.
But dude, he's gonna be hung. He's gonna be flying around in the plane, and he's gonna be like shooting guys
Yeah.
down.
I'm
And then
thinking
the
he-
guy's gonna
I'm
be like,
thinking-
"He's on me," and he's like, "I'm on him," and he's gonna shoot him down.
I'm thinking he blows up and drowns to death.
Maybe.
He's Hardy. He's hung.
Yeah.
He's hard.
he's hard.
Hardy's hard, dude.
Is
All right.
that all we got this week, gentlemen?
Yeah, we're just.
Yeah, we can go on.
Yeah,
forever.
all right.
fucking baboons.
We can talk about how much we love
Speaking
him.
of baboons, Planet of the Apes. All right, we're gonna stop.
Any closing thoughts, guys?
We did that so many times this week of like we'd say something but like speaking of and we'd like mention something else as we were talking about something.
I mean, it's fun to get off topic a little bit, but like you got to wrangle the off topicness. You
Well-
can't let it get way too out of hand.
I feel like we do a decent job
Yeah.
of bringing it back
Yeah.
in always.
It's fine to get hot topic.
No, because then you're a gothic weirdo.
Well, any closing thoughts?
No, we love our listeners. Here.
Wait, Mike, what are we reviewing next week?
Funkirk. Seeing the British get fucked up by the Nazis.
Hunkirk.
We're seeing Dunkirk.
Hunkirk.
Hunkirk.
Punkirk.
I'm done with
All
this.
right,
I'm
I'm
ending
closing us
episode.
out. And that is this week's podcast. Remember that each and every Monday morning we are uploading to YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. We've got links for those. We've got links to those on our Facebook and
SoundCloud almost went down the drain, but Chance saved it.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Saved us?
yeah.
Because Chance was like discovered on SoundCloud, and then the president guy, Asian guy, he
What is that? That's
Yeah, thanks for making that distinction, Dan.
he was gonna like shut down SoundCloud, and it was like literally like a couple hours from going down the tubes, and Chance saved it. So Chance saved us.
Yay.
Thanks, Chance.
And every Monday morning, we're uploading to that, YouTube, and iTunes. We're going to have links to those in our Facebook and Twitter page. We're going to have links for those in the description. If you are listening on iTunes, please give us a rate or subscribe. It means a lot, and it gets us noticed better. Give us a like on our Facebook, a like on our Twitter page, or a follow, or whatever it is. Any final thoughts?
No, love you guys.
Mike?
No.
No? And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.